Hatching is what is called associative in our CAD drawings. I've highlighted a circle here, and that's some timber hatching, or hatching representing timber work that surrounds a planting hole. That inner circle has a diameter of 500. If I decide that that's rather too large as a planting hole and I want to narrow it, I simply type 400, hit enter, and you notice that the circle gets smaller and the hatch automatically fills in. The same would apply, in fact, if I picked the outer circle, which has a diameter of 1400, and I change that to 1200, it'll shrink, but the hatching shrinks with it. So it's a very, very useful thing. I'll deselect all from there. But what we now might want to do is to put some hatching through here. We might have sort of some stone seating around there with a brick header around the corner. So I'll just use the modify command, and I'll extend to the circle as a boundary. I'll extend those lines through there. They'll be a brick header running around there. We want to hatch this internal area with some sort of polished concrete, perhaps. I find it easiest to hatch with a polyline, create a polyline and then hatch. So I'll move on to a layer that I've called layer 1, and it's got a color by layer. I'll give it a more meaningful name later. But what we want to do is to pick that arc there, join a couple of lines, and then this arc segment through here onto and form a polyline so we can hatch it easily. We can also calculate areas from polylines. So what I want to do is to break that line there. If I pick it now, can you see it's one single line that goes right through to the outside. So what I want to do is to break that line. So you can type the command at the keyboard, and the first prompt says select the entity and select the first point. I'll snap to the end of that line, and for the second point I'll snap to the end of that very same line. Now when I pick those two lines, they're two separate lines. So in fact I can select the arc and this line here, right click and join them, and I'm beginning to form my polyline. I can come over here and issue the break command again and pick the object. We're going to break this line. The first point will be the end of that line, and for the second point the same point exactly. And now we can pick that line and the joined line and join them together. So now if we zoom out a little and pick it, we've got most of our area that we want to hatch, and that will probably work because we can probably hatch the zone between that polyline and the circle. We'll give that a try. If it doesn't work, we'd form an arc around through there and then join that arc onto the other. Maybe you might find that a little more instructive, so we'll say pick and draw. We'll pick a 3-point arc. We'll start at the end point of that line there. For our second point on the arc, we don't have to be too fussy here. We'll come there and we'll go to end point of that. So there's our arc going in. We should be able to pick it now. You might want to zoom right in. It's different color, so we can pick it and then pick this line here, which is in fact a polyline, right click and then join them. Now we've got the area zoned in nicely, and we can pick, draw and hatch. Pick the entity, it's a single entity, and right click, and we'll just make sure we've got a hatch pattern loaded, the standard one that comes with gCADPlus. We can do and pick up a concrete type pattern. Notice that with a scale of 1000, which is what I was using before, we only get a very low density. So as I reduce this, I've now got effectively a density of 1.8, now a density of 18. That might be all right, so we'll try it. And we'll OK it. In my view, that's probably a little too dense, so pick it again, then come over here, and we'll give it, say, a scale of 50. And that looks, to my eye, a lot more reasonable. So you can see that hatching is associative. Hatching's best done with a polyline to create the area. Useful then if you've got a polyline, because you can easily calculate volumes required. So there's the area of that. Shift the decimal place by 6. So 3 and 3, that's 1.8 square metres there, and you could work out the volume of concrete required if that was, say, a 250 millimetre thick slab. You might support it, or you could have a mass of concrete in there, depending how your construction team want to work. And then it's maybe a matter of doing a solid fill around through here. Well, I hope that helps you in your understanding of hatching and the need and the usefulness to make polylines.